these. So let's compare. So the vertex for number 2 is here, and it's at 3, -4. Um, because this parabola opens up, anytime it opens up like that, it's going to be a minimum. So the vertex is going to be the lowest point, and it occurs at -4, which is basically this number. It's always the y value of your vertex. Okay, so the minimum is -4. The zeros, remember, those happened here at the x-intercepts, and that happened at 1 and 5. 1 and 5. Okay, and then the x-intercept, or I'm sorry, the y-intercept happened at 0, 5, right there. So the y-intercept happened on the y-axis there. Okay. Number 3. So number 3 opens down. So that means the a value in the equation or in the function, the a value would be a negative number. And it's going to open down. And so the vertex is a maximum, and it's right there at 2, 4. 2, 4. It's a maximum because it's the highest point. And the y value, I'm sorry, the maximum rather, is 4. So the max value is 4. It won't get any higher than that. And the zeros happened at 0 and 4. X is equals 0 and x equals 4. That's where the zeros are. And the y-intercept is also there at 0, 0. Crosses the y-axis there at 0, 0. Okay. Number 4, we have a vertex at -4, 0. And since it opens up, it's a minimum. And the minimum value is 0. Won't get any lower than 0. And this time they're asking for an x-intercept. So, because we only have 1, 0, right? 1, 0 at -4. So the x-intercept coordinates are -4, 0. If you just put -4, that's fine. And the y-intercept is it crosses the y-axis at 14, so 0, 14. Okay? Any questions? Let's look at number 5. Okay, so for number 5, and it says Tiksha is comparing the y-intercepts for f of x and g of x. The function f of x is shown on the graph. So this is f of x right here. This is the function f of x. Okay? And g of x is this equation here. How can Tiksha determine the y-intercept for g of x without graphing the function? So we don't want to graph it. I mean, we could always go to Desmos, plug it in, but finding the y-intercept is actually going to be pretty easy. What does x have to be? Yes? Look at the value without x. In other words, cover them up. Yeah. Yeah, so when x is 0. So basically you would have to do, we're talking about g of x. G of 0, so that would be 2 times 0 squared minus 6 times 0 plus 5. And what's going to happen when we do 2 times 0 squared and -6 times 0? They all go away, yeah. Leaving just that. So now they want us to compare the y-intercepts for f of x and g of x. So we know that the value is for g of x is 5. What's the value on for f of x for the y-intercept? Around 4, somewhere between. It can we just say between 4 and 5? It's not exactly 4, not exactly 5. Somewhere in between. So what can we say? How can we compare them? Which one's bigger? Which one? So we could say the y-intercept of g of x is greater than the y-intercept of f of x. Can you get the door, please? All right, okay, here's the challenge. Check in with your partners before you commit to a sketch. Sketch a parabola, one of these. So sketch a quadratic function with no zeros. No zeros. What's it going to look like on the graph? There's two possible flavors it comes in. So think about what zeros look like. Think about what they are. We talked about zeros already, right? Where the parabola crosses the x-axis, think about what that would look like. Is it possible to draw one of these things that never crosses that x-axis? Yeah, we could do one of these. It opens up, does that. Never touch. Is that ever going to touch? No, because here's the vertex. That's the lowest point. Can it open down and do that? Can do that. This is a maximum, right? Never going to get any higher than that, so it's never going to cross over that x-axis. Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Mrs. Wei asked her students to graph this function g of x. Jillian claims g of x will have a maximum value, while Jillian claims g of x will have a minimum value. Who is correct? Is it going to have a maximum value? Is it going to have a minimum value? And I'll show you the number that's going to determine that. The negative. This is going to open up or down? Down. So it's going to do this. So looks like it's going to have a maximum. So who said maximum? So Jillian is correct. A is less than 1. So g of x opens down and will have a max value. Okay. Okay, last question. Rashad and Tom are having a game of ping pong. The graph shows the height of the ball in meters above the table as a quadratic function of t, time in seconds. So this is showing you the height at any point in time. What is the vertex of the function? What is the vertex? half a second and 1 1/4 meters. Okay. What is the meaning of the vertex in the context of this situation? What does it mean? That's the highest point. Bingo. All right. So this is what we're going to be working on.